If you've been dealing with a lot of anxiety lately, you may know exactly what it feels like when your mind wants peace, but your body seems to be telling you a different story. You may be praying, you may be quoting scripture, you may be trying to calm yourself down, and yet your chest still feels like it's tight or you've got a heavy weight on it. Your stomach still feels unsettled or in knots, and your thoughts still feel fast or racing. Your whole system still feels like it's bracing for something big to happen. And when that happens, a lot of people start asking the wrong questions. They ask, what's wrong with me? Why can't I just calm down? Or why do I still feel this way when I know that God's with me? But sometimes what's happening is not just in your thoughts. Sometimes your nervous system is activated and your body needs to help it settle down. That's what I want to talk about in this video. I want to walk you through 5 simple vagus nerve exercises that can help your body move out of the stress mode and into a calmer state. And I want to talk about this in a way that I usually do, through the lens of a Christian therapist. Because taking care of your nervous system is not a lack of faith. It's one way of stewarding the body that God gave you. I'm Eddie Traughber. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and for over 30 years I've worked with clients dealing with anxiety, grief, trauma, addiction, and the emotional struggles that affect both the mind and the body. And one of the things I try to help people understand is that anxiety is not just something you think. Very often it's something you feel physically. Your body speeds up, your breathing changes, becomes shallow or fast, your muscles tighten up or tense, your heart starts racing, your stomach shifts, and your attention or your focus tends to narrow. And when your whole system starts acting like danger is right there, right now, your anxiety is high. And that's where the vagus nerve matters. The vagus nerve is not a fun nightclub you go to where you dance or you gamble. The vagus nerve is a long nerve that acts like a communication highway between your brain and many of the major organs in your body, including your heart, your lungs, and your stomach. It constantly carries messages back and forth, helping regulate things like your breathing, your heart rate, your digestion, and your body's ability to relax after stress. Now, I'm not going to make this overly technical, but the vagus nerve is one of the main pathways involved in helping to regulate your nervous system. It plays a role in helping your body shift out of the fight, flight, or freeze mode and into a state that's calmer, more settled, and more connected. You can think of it as part of the body's calming system. When anxiety rises, your system may act like you're in immediate danger, even when you're objectively safe. And when that happens, it can be very hard to think clearly, to pray steadily, or to feel emotionally present. So part of helping anxiety is not only changing your thoughts, part of it's helping your body to receive the message that it can slow down. And the reason that matters is because peace is not always something that you can think your way into. Sometimes peace is something your body has to relearn how to receive. So let me walk you through 5 simple exercises. The first one is called the Physiological Sigh. This is one of the quickest ways to help the body to settle down when anxiety spikes. Here's how you do it. Take one inhale through your nose, and then before you exhale, take a second smaller inhale on top of that one. Then let out a long, slow exhale through your mouth. So it looks like this. Inhale, a second small inhale, and then a long, slow exhale. Almost like you're trying to breathe out through one of those tiny coffee straws that you get in your coffee sometimes. You can do that 2 or 3 times, and what this does is help interrupt that shallow, tight breathing pattern that often comes with anxiety. When most people get anxious, they usually don't realize how constricted their breathing has become, and this exercise helps release some of that buildup and begin telling your body that it can start to slow down. It's simple, it's quick, and it can be especially helpful when your chest feels tight or your body feels wound up. The second exercise sounds overly simple, but it's humming. This may sound almost too simple, but it can be very effective. You see, the vagus nerve is connected to an area involving the throat and the vocal cords, and gentle vocal vibration can help stimulate the body's calming response. So one easy thing you can do is take a slow breath in and hum on the exhale for several seconds. It doesn't have to be loud, doesn't have to be pretty, it just needs to be steady. One reason I especially like this for Christians is that it can connect naturally with worship. You can hum part of a worship hymn or a worship melody. You can hum softly while you pray. And that turns this from just a technique into something more relational. Not performative, not forced, just a way of helping your body and soul to slow down together. Sometimes people think if they're still anxious, they must not be trusting God enough. But often, that's not what's happening. Sometimes they trust God and their body's still activated. And in moments like that, a simple embodied practice like humming can help the nervous system settle enough for you to feel more present. The third exercise is side-to-side eye scanning. This exercise exercise is not talked about as often, but it can be very helpful. See, when anxiety is high, your attention often narrows. Your body starts scanning for danger around it, and your mind gets pulled inward, and it can feel like everything inside you is revolving around what you perceive as a threat. And one way to interrupt that is slowly to move your eyes from left to right across the room. You don't need to jerk your head around like you're paranoid. You don't need to do anything dramatic. Just gently let your eyes scan the environment. Notice the light, notice the wall, notice the shapes, corners, objects, or colors. Notice that the room is stable and safe, and notice that you're here and you're present and you're not in harm's way. Notice that this moment is the one that you're actually in. What this does is help your brain and body orient back to the present instead of staying trapped in internal state of alarm. And that matters because anxiety often makes the present moment feel more dangerous than it really is. Eye scanning helps widen attention, and it gently reminds the system that this is not the same as the threat that it feels like. The fourth exercise is extended exhale breathing with hand to heart grounding. So put one hand on your chest, and if that feels uncomfortable, one hand on your abdomen, and then inhale gently through your nose for a count of 4, and again exhale slowly out through your mouth to the count of 6 or 7. You don't need to force it, you're simply making the exhale longer than the inhale. And that longer exhale helps activate the body's calming response. And the hand placement adds another layer of grounding. It creates a felt sense of support and containment. In a moment like that, you're quietly reminding your body, I'm here, I'm paying attention, and I'm not abandoning myself right now, and I'm safe. And from a Christian perspective, this can become a simple way of being still before God. You're not trying to impress Him. You're not trying to force yourself into peace. You're just slowing down enough to remember that you're breathing, that you're held, and that you don't have to join your anxiety in its urgency. Now, the fifth exercise is putting gentle, cool water on your face. Now, you don't need an ice bath. Most people don't need anything extreme. Simply splashing a little cool water on your face or placing a cool washcloth across your neck and around your eyes for several seconds can help your body to shift gears. For some people, this is especially helpful when anxiety feels very physical, when your body feels like it's spiraling out of control, when panic is rising, when the intensity feels hard to interrupt. Cool facial stimulation gives the nervous system another input, another signal, another interruption to the stress cycle. It can help to slow things down enough for you to come back into the room, back into your body, and back into clearer awareness. Now, let me say something important here. These exercises aren't magic, and they're not a replacement for deeper healing work when that's needed. If your anxiety is tied to trauma, to chronic stress, to panic attacks, grief, or long-standing emotional patterns, these tools may help to regulate you in the moment, but they may not resolve everything by themselves. Still, they can be helpful because they make your body more available for calm, more available for clarity, more available for prayer, and more available for truth. Sometimes people try to reason with themselves when their body's still flooded with stress, and that's hard to do. It's difficult to think clearly when your nervous system thinks that you're in danger. These exercises can help to lower the volume enough that truth can land more effectively. And that's part of why this matters from a Christian standpoint. We're not just minds with Bible verses, we're embodied souls. God made us as whole beings. So caring for the nervous system is not unspiritual, it's part of learning how to live faithfully inside the body you actually have. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do in an anxious moment is to stop fighting your body, to breathe, to slow down, to hum a tune from a worship song, to ground yourself in the room and remember that God is near even before you feel calm. If I were to put this into a very simple in-the-moment routine, it might sound like this. First, you feel your anxiety rising, do 2 rounds of the physiological sigh. Remember, that's the long, that's the short inhale, longer exhale. Then hum softly on a slow exhale for a few breaths. Then let your eyes slowly scan the room from side to side. Then put your hand on your chest and breathe out longer than you breathe in. And if your body still feels intensely activated, you can use cool water on your face. That whole process takes only a few minutes. And most of these things you can do in any environment without anyone else knowing what you're doing. You could be sitting in church or in class or at work and place your hand on your abdomen or your chest and take a few breaths, short breaths in, longer exhales out. without making a big demonstration of it, and no one would know what's going on. And these can help interrupt the spiral, and they can bring your body into a place that's more settled. And if you want a simple prayer to pair with these exercises, it might be something like this: Lord, help my body to receive the peace that my mind keeps forgetting. I think that's a very honest prayer, because sometimes the issue isn't that you know nothing about peace. Sometimes the issue is that your body just hasn't caught up yet. So if your anxiety level has been high lately, don't just ask what you need to think, also ask what your nervous system may need. Sometimes your body's asking for help, not for condemnation. If this video was helpful for you, I'd encourage you to like and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like, I can also do follow-up videos on Christian grounding exercises for panic, what anxiety feels like in the body, or how grief and anxiety affect the nervous system together. Just let me know in the comments what might be helpful for you, or if you have other questions, you can drop them there also, and I'll try to address them in future videos. I'm glad you're here. See you next time.